We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone tonight. This is a special call meeting for the town of Oakland. Madam Recorder, we do have a quorum. All members are present. We're going to start with a prayer and a pledge. Mr. Cates.
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much for the time we can meet together again. Just thank you for our town. Thank you for this board, Lord. Just pray that you'll give us wisdom and guide us in making the right decisions. Watch over us, protect us as we go through this. Pray and ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first we need to approve the agenda. It's a very short agenda. I'll take a motion from anyone that's ready. Got a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. And a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We have an agenda. All right, next is citizens' comments. This portion of the agenda is reserved for public comment from town of Oakland residents who wish to comment on matters that are germane to the items on tonight's agenda. Speakers shall limit their comments to 3 minutes unless additional time is allowed by the chair, and the total length of this public comment period shall not exceed 10 minutes. Is there anyone who wishes to speak tonight? I'm surprised. Come forward.
Roy Duhauser, Brookside, Oakland, Tennessee. There's on the agenda, we're looking at a property tax. I certainly hope that's not a property tax increase, as we are about to, as promised for many years, have massive amounts of sales tax revenue, et cetera, coming into this town because we have soccer fields. Now, either that's true and we don't need a tax increase, and if it's even half as good as promised, we might be looking at a decrease might be in order, or there's something terribly wrong here. So I certainly hope that nobody thinks that we should have a tax increase, especially after the 40% increase we had earlier this year. Thank you.
Okay. Please state your name and address for the record.
Mike Heiderber, 140 Misty Birch Lane. Thank you for your time, and thank you everybody showing up for our not having tax increase. I come from another state a couple years ago who has a big tax problem. One of the issues I can see right away for me is why is there not a charge on permits, like $10,000 a house and $30,000 for commercial? That's money that can be used for the water and everything. Everybody's going to absorb the cost when they buy the house. And if we say they're not going to buy the house because of that, then so be it. But the city's population should not have to incur the costs of the sewer, the soccer fields. It should be as a group effort, but the new people coming in with the new construction, that should be all set to that standard. And where I come from, a permit for a house would be $156,000 for the same house here. So you're not doing anything out of the abnormal. And the water and sewer bill is higher than what I was paying in California. That's, for me, that's just insane. And I water the grass every three days for hours at a time. And I don't get it. And asking to take money from my family for whatever your pet project is, I have a big issue with that. I can afford it, but there's many people around me that cannot. And I have to speak for them. And there were 6 of us that got together and they asked me to speak, not because I'm a great speaker, but because I'm concerned. And I don't want to keep our taxes just keep going up and say, well, I made this mistake. And I'll offer to volunteer my own personal time, no charge at all, so I can help figure out what the problem is, because there is a problem. There should be no surprises why this costs this much or why we kick something down the road a couple years and hope that it'll get better or a better deal will come along. I mean, we're a small town, I know that, but we can do better. And the firemen and the policemen, they deserve the best. I will never argue about you with the taxes for them to give them raises and stuff, but when it comes to the rest of the things, people need to pay for it, especially for like these buildings being built at the gas station at Walmart. I mean, there should have been a $30,000 surcharge for a permit for that, and I don't understand why it's not. And the inspectors, I talked to them. They're overworked. There's 3 of them. And there's a lot of things I see around. I walk down the sidewalks. Somebody has to accept these streets and the sidewalks, and they're cracked every 100 feet. That's not right. And the city should not have to incur to pay for that. Brand new streets there at D.R. Horton are already collapsing. Brand new, no more than 6 months old. And we have to be accountable for our times. And like I said, if you need a volunteer to help look through things, I'll be happy to, and there's many other people behind me that will do that too. And we're not asking for money. We're just trying to make our city better, what it deserves to be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? All right, we will move on. Before we go to the next item, does the board have a problem if I ask Mr. Corton to address a couple of the issues the gentleman just spoke about for the public's understanding?
Is it on the agenda?
No, but,
Can't call it unless it's a special call meeting. It has to stay
Okay.
on the agenda.
okay. Well, then we'll go to the next, then we'll talk about it when we're talking about this. Next up is ordinance 2604 to establish the property tax levy for fiscal year 27 and establish a public hearing date. I need a motion to hear.
Make a motion to hear it.
I've got a motion to hear. Is there a second? All in favor? Okay. Mr. Ellis, do you want to address this, or it's, we just need to go through the budget and decide what the property tax rate is going to be?
I think there's some things that need to be mentioned that have changed since our last work session. If you look at your revised budget in front of you, you can see a lot of things in red. So as you know, at the last minute, we received a 10.5% increase for our health insurance coverage. We received a 1.5% increase on PCRS retirement, and there was also an increase on our liability for insurance on buildings and things. And if I could, I ask Ms. Lori if she don't mind just stepping up as well, because she's going to be an integral part of this conversation.
I don't have any red.
You don't have any red?
No.
Nobody has? She may have some.
Do you have copies of the budget?
I do.
Thank you.
Mine's in blue.
There's some additional costs. Here's a copy here for somebody.
Well, she's got a whole pack.
We'll let her pass those out.
Thank you.
Okay. As I was saying, you'll see, look at the red, you'll see some additional costs that we need to cover. We also have a couple of grants that have been in place for about 5 years. They're very slow moving, and we're not sure. We have to estimate what those costs will be coming up in this fiscal year that weren't in the first budget. So we're going to estimate that's going to be an additional $100,000. One is but they're both are TDOT grants. One is for a sidewalk improvement on Highway 194 from 64 to Main Street. And the other one is a signal improvement, to synchronize and upgrade traffic signals in town. 3 traffic signals, I believe. The last one where I anticipate an increase is the Clay Street renovation. We had talked about it in workshops. We talked about it last time. We have 7 Brew coming. We have Chick-fil-A. Have a traffic signal coming at this intersection. The original cost estimate from the engineer was $600,000, and that's where Ed can get involved if he would like. The latest estimate is up over $800,000. So I think, as I mentioned before, the town has to put some skin in the game. These investors invested a lot of money bringing these businesses, paying for traffic signals. 7 Brew's gonna be on the corner there. We know this intersection is bad enough for fire and police to get out at this time. So that could be an additional $500,000 shortfall there. Lastly, I'd like to point out the IDB currently has $72,000 in the admin budget and $10,000 for legal for the IDB. I don't think that's enough, that's my opinion. If we want this to be successful, we're gonna have to invest in it. And that's where it comes back to you guys. We don't have enough revenue, so we can cut from this budget. That's one option, and you know the other option. So with that, I'll be quiet, and you guys can have your deliberation and your discussion.
Would you
Can
also-
we cut from this budget?
We added an extra $500,000 in for paving, so we can't cut enough.
Would you also elaborate on the Fayette County situation that,
And the mayor, I may defer to him. He probably,
I don't,
you don't want to, you would like me
no,
to?
I don't mind, I don't think it's gonna happen. The county is proposing to put on a referendum to add that half-cent sales tax that we currently get 100% of the benefit from. We'll lose half that money. It'll cost the town of Oakland $600,000. We make $1.2 million every year just on that half-cent sales
That's
tax.
just to the park budget, it's not to the town budget.
Wouldn't it, we're lucky. The other municipalities depend on that money to fund their budgets. It would just affect our park budget, but it's still $600,000, and I'd like to not lose it. I don't think
They voted down once or twice before.
twice, and I think they'll vote it down the third time, but.
But it is worth mentioning. if
And,
that
and
happens.
it wouldn't affect this year's budget. It wouldn't go into effect until July 1st next year.
But if that happens, that $1.2 million, the 600, would be cut to 600, and we owe about $330,000 a year in debt service on that. So it would devastate any future plans for any park.
Okay, so last time we met, we were $91,000 to the good. How much are we in a deficit right now?
The insurance is over 100,000, wasn't it?
Oh, it's close to $500,000.
so the email that I sent out to everyone on Friday kind of explained the fact that with the known expenses for the property insurance, the health insurance, and the TCRS, putting those into the budget threw us in a negative $66,000. That did not take into consideration the signal grant and the sidewalk grant. If those two things are added into it, we could be looking at up to $300,000 in the negative.
300,000.
So,
Wait, say that again? If we get grant money, it puts us further in the hole?
No, we have
we still
grant.
have our obligation, and it all depends upon
Okay,
how long it takes to do it. We have started receiving invoices on the sidewalk grant. We do have to do a little bit of research on that to make sure that everything is on the up and up before we go further on that. The signal grant will happen, but that is a $75,000 to $100,000 expense to the town. We do not have in this budget. So we have two options, just like I said to you in the email that was sent out on Friday. We can either cut from the budget we currently have, or we've got to come up with funds somewhere.
what's our fund balance? 5.2 million?
Yes.
That's a general fund we're talking about, just for clarification.
Correct.
Yes, yes. And how much is the budget short if we add all this stuff in there?
300,000.
316,000, and that's leaving the Clay Street improvement at 300, so we could do
So you'd have to add another
part of the
500,000 to
project.
Clay
We
Street,
could do
so
part of Clay Street for 300,000, yeah.
Okay, I don't have a vote, and I don't really have a say, but I am going to say, I do not think that we need a property tax increase. I think that we know we have businesses that are coming here. We know Chick-fil-A will be built in the next several months, and we're gonna start immediately receiving sales tax revenue from that store. I think if we're only looking at 300,000, we can come out of fund balance, and we can see what other development is between now and next year, and then we'll have a better, more clear picture of how much our sales tax will increase the following year. But that's my opinion.
How much would it generate in 20 cents?
20 cents in property taxes are about $1 million,
How much,
$1 million.
what would that put us
It's-
at, 84?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
83.
80, we're currently at 6.432 at property tax.
I went over his budget pretty good, and I don't see a whole lot we can cut anywhere.
No.
The only place that we
Unless you
can
wanna start
cut
cutting
really is
police and
gonna
fire,
be,
and I don't think anybody wants to do that.
well, the only place that we can really cut is, we can't do streets. So, you know, we just have to cut it out of the streets.
So we would cut the paving of the streets, and everybody would leave happy that their property tax wouldn't go up, and then next month, we're gonna get a whole bunch of phone calls, when are you gonna pave my street?
Right.
It ain't next month, it's every day. We could cut a lot of things.
Well, let's
But
look
if
at
you
that.
wanna cut them, you wanna cut the IDD ward funding? Yes.
Yes,
No,
yes.
You wanna cut the street paving? You know, I mean, we can cut a lot of things,
Let's look at it.
but this is what's been going on for the last 15 years. Keep the can down the street. I know what, there's an election coming up this year, and I guarantee you there's people up here that won't be here. So why not just put it on next board? Let's only raise it 20 cents. That's gonna get us through this year, maybe next year,
That's
and
what
then
I,
somebody else can worry about it.
that's what I was thinking, 20 cents.
I mean, I don't, and everybody has their own opinion, and I respect everybody's opinion, and they have their own reasons why. But property taxes are not expensive. If it was double, it's more than affordable. I mean, if it was 50 cents and 3% a year, it's about $18 or $20 a month. I don't find that to be overwhelming. I mean, $18 is like 3 gallons of gas or something. I don't know, it's just me. I can find somewhere to save $18 a month. I cannot eat out one time at El Mezcal and save more than $18. But it would benefit this town $2 or $3 million at 50 cents.
50 cents would be $2.5 million.
And I respect and I appreciate everybody here. I appreciate everybody who comes up here and talks. And I've talked to a lot of people over the last few months, and I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks since we started this. There's a few people that say, no, I mean, nobody wants a tax increase, I get it, okay? I'm not saying they're, yippee, let's have a party. But I'm gonna tell you at least 98% of the people I talk to that are buying $400,000 Horton homes don't have a problem with $20 a month more. Everyone I've called out, I've talked to Kroger, Walmart, Oakland Donuts, go up there on Saturday morning. You can talk to 100 people in 2 hours. And nobody is excited about it, but everybody wants streets paved. Everybody wants the fire and police better. Everybody wants a new city hall, which we haven't even talked about that. This wrinkly ass piece of crap we're sitting in right here, are you kidding me? Is anybody proud? Up here, you got a job to do. And I said this last meeting, you all stood up here and took an oath just like I did, do what's best for this town and the people in it. Not what's best for you or what your neighbor might get mad at you. That ain't what's best for this town, or what people say on social media. Don't have social media, I know, I'm sure they're talking crap about me. But I took an oath to do what's best for this town. Kicking the can down the road that we've been doing for 15 years, let's raise it 5 cents. Let's raise it 3 cents. How many property tax increases has there been, Mr. Cade, since you've been on this board?
That's a good question. I was thinking the other day what it was in 2016. It probably hadn't raised 50 cents in 10 years.
That's why people move out
Can we
here.
ask a question?
That's not why people would
No.
move here. Not the people I talk to.
No.
I'm not saying, that is one of the reasons they move out here, absolutely. But I don't get that from anybody. Everybody likes, that's what I'm saying, everybody likes low taxes.
All
But
right,
I don't think $1,000 a year for a property tax on a $350,000 house is really that bad.
well, you pay more for county property tax,
Correct.
for no services, than you do for city taxes that you get all your services from.
We have to help them, the fire department.
I was just
I,
going
I don't want to interrupt your
Oh, I can just
speech.
start again, go
I have a
ahead.
different question, because I just saw this, and it's a lot of red in here on the wastewater treatment plant. Is this just pink to be a different color, or is this increased cost?
No, those are debt,
Pink is dead.
But this is covered.
yes.
Yes.
Still
Now,
no,
let me.
wait a minute, wait, I want to be perfectly clear.
Let me emphasize again,
Yes,
because it is so important, it comes up every single meeting. Water and sewer are utility.
yeah, they're not part of the,
No general
property
fund
tax.
dollars can be spent at any time on utilities.
I
Nor
just,
can
Or the
revenues
park
be
either.
used
I just
for
want to
that.
put it on, no
However-
increase in water bills
However,
right now, is that correct?
however,
Okay,
utility companies per the state of Tennessee are required to cover all costs, all debt, all capital expenditures, and all depreciation with the fees that it charges customers only, nothing else. So,
And it's worth mentioning.
utilities have to stand on their own. So please, everyone, do not mention utilities in general fund in the same sentence.
And transversely.
I just got to that page, that's all. I just want to make sure water rates aren't going to go up or be changed.
It's the same on our part too. That does not come that don't come with property tax either.
The water, your water and sewer bill cannot be used to fund the park, no matter what people say. That's not, they stand alone.
Can I add one more thing to that conversation?
Please do.
We can, what do we use the tap fees that we collect from the builders? Where does that money go? What do we do with it? It operates the day-to-day operations of the plants. Is that an accurate statement?
He does.
Yes.
So if we took tap fees and we applied extra principal on the loan, there would be a deficit in the day-to-day operations, which would have to be overcome by making bills go higher.
Correct.
Okay,
So the utilities.
thank you.
Nothing to do with it.
No.
Let's leave that alone, and let's
Go back.
see what we're doing. And the thing is this has been pushed back, Vice Mayor Cates just said, since 2016. I don't know, we don't have it in front of us.
I can tell you 5 or 6 years ago, the property tax rate was 29 cents.
If-
There was
if
an alderman
we-
at the time, won $1.
If we don't do something, the town is in trouble forever, because it's in trouble now. It's been in trouble for years, because nobody wants to, listen, the hard decision ain't always a popular decision, but that's why you're elected. You're elected to do the right thing. You can't sit up here and say, well, let's wait until next year, let someone else worry about it, or there's an election, and I'm not saying anybody's doing that, but there's never been enough money. This town's been working on Broke Street. I didn't know that Rock Bottom had a basement until now. But we've been working on Broke, and I'm saying this tax rate needs to be increased 50 cents, and it needs to increase 3% a year for the next 5 years.
I will,
Laurie, can I ask you a question?
You're gonna go up about $300 a year.
go ahead.
That's a question. Okay. County property assessor just raised everyone's property value by 40% this past year,
Correct.
okay? Everybody's saying that we raised their property taxes 40%. We didn't raise their property taxes 40%. How has that helped our budget?
Well, it has helped in several matters, but to clarify, people's property tax value went up 40%. In 2023, the current board on this panel right here decided to do an increase of property taxes to 0.6432%. That was in 2023. We had the same tax rate of 0.6432 in 2024. We had the same tax rate in 2025 of 0.6432. What changed was the county raised the value of your property. So people who want to sell and move they could get more money out of their homes. But the people who decide to stay will pay more for what they have because it's valued higher. Kind of like antiques. The longer you have them, the more they're worth. So, but those dollars that came in helped to cover emergency expenses that the town incurred. It helped to cover expenses that the town did not budget for because they were unknown at the time. So, I mean, unfortunately, you know, when you look at the towns in our area and the tax rates that they have, we are so far below others that have to have more. Somerville just raised their taxes 20 cents.
What, 60 cents?
They had no choice. What does Somerville have to offer more than Oakland?
And they raised theirs because they're realizing now they don't have a sales tax base.
Well,
Generates revenue.
Piperton's raised their taxes each year in the last 3 years. Rossville raises their taxes every year. The tax rate, we're 12,000 people. What's our 2,500 people in Rossville? 3,000?
Yeah.
Their tax rate is $1.11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're fortunate in Oakland to have high sales tax. And I still say, we know businesses are coming online. We know that our sales tax revenue will increase. We're only in a deficit of $300,000. We can cover this out of our general fund.
Chick-fil-A changes their mind?
But we can't count
it's
that
not
revenue before it's here.
I know.
You can't budget.
I know.
You can't
Balance a
count
budget
that
taken out of
revenue
the fund.
until next year, and you can only count half of it until you've had a full year of revenue to be able to say, this is what we can anticipate. You're going on a what if, but you won't have a year's worth of sales tax from Chick-fil-A. You won't have a year's worth of sales tax.
Well, we'll have a,
You can't.
You're working on woulda, coulda, shoulda.
no, we know they're coming.
But we don't know that. But besides that, we can't make that forecast. What if Chick-fil-A gets out there and gets bombs? Exactly. You can't keep us, it's still trying to keep us behind the gun. We gotta get in front of the curve. We gotta be a leader. We gotta do what's right for this town. And again, I know a lot of people out there going, I don't think that tax increase because you said it's right for the town. I understand that. And I know there's people out here that are gonna run in this election. And, you know, then they'll be the voice up here. But I've been watching it for years and years and years, and this town has never had enough money. And it still doesn't have enough money. And I don't think that $1,000 a year property tax on a $350,000 home is absurd.
Well, again, you pay 12 or 1,300.
My sister-in-law just paid over $7,000 for a house that's $275 in Cordova. $7,000. I know people are gonna say, well, that's why we live here. Well, you can't have the things you want and never have an increase. Economics is economics. You can't spend more than you take in. And as the town grows, it's gonna grow. If you don't wanna have things like parks, or you don't wanna have a new city hall, don't even talk about this building, don't even talk about getting a new one, because that's, without a tax increase, you can forget it. What about the new fire station out there at the other end of town? So somebody has a grease fire, and their kitchen burns down, I'll take that back, the whole house burned down, would have been the kitchen, but the fire department couldn't get there because of the amount of traffic that's increasing, the things going on. Just too bad for them, because we didn't wanna pay $300 extra a year. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think it's what's right for the people that live here.
All right.
You can't balance a budget taking it from the general funds to balance it. That's not balancing a budget.
It is not, and you know, everybody complains about everything's getting higher and higher and higher. Well, that same expense is put on this town as well. All of the costs increase year over year over year. We increase at a commercial rate instead of a residential rate. We have to cover it. I mean, you know, there are unknowns every single year. There are unknowns.
Well, in 5 years, we know the wastewater treatment plant went from $10 million to $29 million. And now the same plant would be about 65
Other things will happen that way
million
as well. That's why you never want to dip into your reserves, because our reserves are already low for a town this size. And we have not in the last couple of years put any money in our reserves because
Hey, Mike,
we haven't been able to
Hold on
do
one
it and
second.
balance the
Hold on one
budget.
does anybody else, do either of you have a question or comment before we, go
Yeah.
ahead, Mr. Campbell. You can go next, Marilyn.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, then Alderman Sutton sat in this chair right here and told everyone in the town of Oakland that we've been dancing around and dancing around, be prepared that there's gonna be a tax increase. The following last year, we raised it, and I said then, will the 40% be enough that we don't raise taxes every year? Because a lot of people can't afford it. I'm close to it, like I told you at the last meeting, I haven't had a pay raise in almost 20 years from my work. So, if we didn't, when I asked then, will the 40% be enough to suffice for at least a couple of years? Everyone sat here and said, oh yeah. Well, now we're seeing it's not. And I'm against it myself. And I agree with a lot of stuff you said, but I just can't go with it.
What 40%? What are you talking about?
The last,
The reevaluation from last year.
county. We didn't do that.
yeah,
Well, it's not the county. Your value went up. The county assessed it. All right, let Marilyn talk.
I just have some grave concerns over the expense of the phones and the postage and that, because it was quite a chunk of change by the time I added all that up. Is there any way we can cut some of these expenses?
You can
I mean,
get rid of
how many-
VC3.
How many employees have cell phones?
I don't have one.
Majority of them, not all. I mean, postage, I don't mean to be ugly, we can stop sending out certified mail for
Well-
high grass. I think Joe spends $200-300 a week on that, on postage.
Well, but we're citing the code says 12 inches.
I'm not gonna get into that. She asked about saving on postage, I'm not gonna talk about grass,
I'm
let's
just
focus
thinking,
on.
is there a way we can,
Yeah, we can cut employee benefits, instead of that 10.5% health insurance increase, we can put some of the burden on the employees, but I'm not gonna make that recommendation. There's a lot of ways we can cut, and we're right back here next year having the same discussion.
Right, next year we're gonna be in a worse boat.
And we don't need to do that because
And that's gonna be, you'll be here, but I mean, there's gonna be other board members here next year. So again, that's just kick down the road. But that's not gonna help us this year. It's not gonna help them next year.
It's not gonna get us a building.
No. I think we gotta do it. Unless we have a tax increase, but
You can't raise taxes enough to build a $17 million building. That's gonna have to wait for a
they
while.
can't stay in this building. Yeah, they can't stay in here, so there's gotta be a building funded somehow.
well, you can do it. You just have to finance it over 40 years.
Right, absolutely. But you gotta have that base to be able to get the loan.
Okay, is there any other discussion or question? I will entertain a motion from anyone that wants to make one, excluding the audience. Well,
budget.
well,
I'll make somebody mad. I'll make
The-
a motion to raise it 25 cents.
what's the current tax rate? I thought it was 63 cents.
0.6432.
0.6432? You're certain about that?
She got it.
2 seconds, I can tell you.
I think it's a little high, Mr. Frank. That's just me.
From the county assessor's office,
Just say it again.
0.6342.
I believe you. Just tell me the
0.6342.
0.6342.
Excuse me, I had that backwards.
20 cents will bring it to what?
Well, you made a motion for 25. If you withdraw your motion. if you-
25 would be approximately $1.1 million increase.
I stick with
0.6342.
Mhm.
So 63 and a half. You make a motion to raise it 25 cents. Is there a second to that?
What is it? Sorry, man.
2.25.
25 cents.
You make a motion to raise it 25 cents? To me, that ain't near enough, but I second.
I have a motion and a second. We're gonna do a roll call vote. Mr. Campbell,
No.
Ms. Austin,
No.
Mr. Labuddy,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey, Mr. Cates.
Yes.
Does anyone wish to change their vote? I want more discussion.
I feel that's appropriate to have more discussion.
Okay, I'm going to, it was 2 votes for, 2 votes against, 1 abstention. I want you guys to talk about this a little bit more. I know your thoughts. I know your thoughts. Well,
This is in Alderman Bailey, I get it, but
Well-
this is an important issue. I mean, this could sway this down one way or another.
and I think the aldermen need to make it. If it'll make it easier, I can vote.
This is important, I really do, and I know there are a lot of folks, or some folks, within this, city limits.
Is it the
It
number?
doesn't seem like $20 a month, $18 a month is a big issue, but for some folks it is.
I get that, but we gotta have.
We're talking,
Motion
but
fails.
we don't need to be talking months, we need, this bill is paid by,
No.
this bill is paid when it's due.
Year.
So that's gonna be $250
Dan, do you just have a problem with the number?
on a year.
I mean, how many people sold their car when gas went up $1.50 a gallon? None.
Hold on.
I do know.
Can I ask you a question? Is it the number that you have an issue with?
Well, no, it's persons. We do have, okay, let me get this on here so everybody can hear me. I talked to Lori and I asked her, are there any, a provision for folks that are of a certain age, certain income that could be exempt or some type of a adjustment to where this property tax is affordable for them. Yeah, I lived in Florida for some 30 years. You have a homestead exemption. You live there long enough, you get a certain exemption on your property tax.
I think that's a state law, though. I don't know
And
if we would have
I don't
the-
know if we have anything in place that would help persons of certain income, certain age, on a fixed income, that would get some relief. If
There
we
is a-
did,
There is a tax relief program,
yeah, we
and there is a
spoke,
veterans program.
yes.
Both of those
Veterans
are
will
available
qualify
not
if
only
you
through
live
the
in,
county, but with the city as well.
yes, if
I-
you live in Oakland, you probably will not qualify for the program.
No, because you have to have a certain income. If you're 100% disabled, say veterans, you get
They have to do it themselves.
Some type of
through the
exemption.
state.
I think you pay nothing if you're 100% disabled.
Okay, can I offer one more thing?
Go ahead.
This is the first reading.
Yes.
We have to establish a date to pass it on the second reading. If we need more time, we have a couple, it's gonna be 2 or 3 weeks between now and the second reading.
But the number is very important because if you.
We have to
change
put it in the paper.
If you change it, there's a tremendous amount of work on the finance department.
Yes, it is,
To
and I
change
understand
this
that.
budget.
And I get what you're saying.
But what I want to know, I went all around the block to ask this question. When was that established? Has it ever been revised due to cost of living and inflation?
It's a government thing that is done, and they do evaluate it every year. Since I have been in government, I have seen the maximum amount that you can make increase. So I do know that they do possibly a cost of living increase on that.
But by
But-
they, you mean the state?
The state or the, yeah, I guess it is the state,
State
not
of
federal,
Tennessee.
but it might be federal as well.
But the
It
individual
trickles down
has,
to
Because
the
it's a
state.
state property tax.
individual has to do it yourself, you can't do it for them.
No, that's incorrect. If they qualify for the, tax relief, they can go to the county and they can get that set up immediately, or they can come to the city and get it set up immediately. Both of our systems are interlinked, so when one gets set up at one place, they get it set up in both.
And I get what you're saying about there's some people that are, and I get that, okay? But when you and I, when we're talking about the $28 a month or 30, whatever it is, I'm talking about a $350,000 house, not someone who lives in a $200,000 house. So you know theirs is way less than that.
I understand that, but given in today's economy, which we all know.
Right, but I don't disagree with you on the seniors but, you know, apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Like I said, I don't know anyone that sold their car when gas went through there. I don't even know people that drive less.
I guess where I'm going is, if this was established, say, in 1985 at 35,000.
But it's not ours
In
to,
today's dollars, that could be 50,000.
but it's not ours to
No,
establish
it is,
that.
it is based
It's-
upon, and I won't even attempt to know the ratio that is used to calculate the maximum income. But it is something that is evaluated every year, and I have seen it increase.
Harvey has an answer.
Quick AI, to
Well, you can't
qualify,
trust
you
AI.
must be 65 years or older, and your total combined annual income must not exceed $37,530.
$37,000 today is poverty.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
No one here will qualify.
Nope.
All right. Does anybody want to change their vote? Because I'll break the, huh? I'm sorry? Does anybody want to change their vote? Okay, I have 2 votes for, 2 votes against, 1 abstention. I'm going to vote no. Motion fails. I will entertain another motion. I think 25 is a little high.
All right, well, I'm gonna make a motion that we raise it to 20. It's killing me, but I'm gonna do it because we have to do something.
So you want to make a motion to raise the property tax 20 cents, which would make it .8342.
Correct.
Is there a second for that? Second. I've got a second from the vice mayor. Any discussion?
Yes. Now, isn't the, state or county looking at, putting a freeze at 85?
The state is, there's a few different things the state is looking at with property tax. I don't anticipate. Some people think it's going to pass. I'm not one of those people.
This year.
It did not pass this year. I don't expect it to pass in the next session. I mean, there's no guarantee what those people are going to do. They're either doing something to you or doing something for you, so. But yes, it would be capped at 85 cents, but we're at 63 cents. So if we went up 20 cents, we're still only at 83 cents, which is still 28 cents lower than Rossville.
Got a motion and a second.
I got a motion and a second. No more discussion. We'll do a roll call vote. Alderman Campbell, no. Alderman Austin,
No.
Alderman LaBuddy,
Yes.
Alderman Bailey,
Do 20 cents, yes.
Alderman Cates.
Yes.
That is 3 votes for, 2 votes against. Motion passes. Okay. Okay. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2605, adopting the fiscal year 2027 annual operating and capital budget. We did not establish can we establish a hearing date for both of these on this next ordinance, or do we need to do each one of them separately? Okay. Can I get a motion to hear ordinance 2605? Motion to hear, is there a second? I've got a second, Alderman Bailey. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Well, we've kind of already been talking a lot about this.
I do want to bring up the fact on the utility bills. It was presented to the board to lower the minimum usage for water and make it the same as sewer. And I do have, I don't mind passing this around, someone who has 1,000 gallons, which would be the new proposed minimum bill. Their water that they would pay with the taxes is $16.98 versus, or currently is at $16.98. With this new proposed change in the structure, the same customer would pay $8.76. So a minimum bill for a customer who uses 1,000 gallons instead of 2,500 gallons would pay $63.65 instead of $81.11. So
We have about 6,100 water customers. How many people use less than 2,500 gallons of water?
it's probably somewhere
don't.
around 1,500 people.
Okay. I think last week we were doing numbers and found 1,800, but
That-
15's
That could
still a
be
quarter. So a quarter of our residents would see a decrease by a few dollars in their water bill.
of some type of decrease.
And that's just on the water rate.
That's
If
just
the
on
sewer rate mirrors it, they'll see more of a,
It won't change anything on the sewer rate because the minimum is already at
At
1,000.
1,000.
The only thing that it will help is those that are paying for 2,500 gallons of water that are not using it. So it could be a savings to the customer, and that's one reason that I wanted to propose it. I also did take the same scenario just to prove that the calculations were correct. Somebody that uses 4,400 gallons of water. At the new rate, the first 1,000 would be $7.98. The second 1,000 gallons would be $4.99. The third 1,000 gallons would be $4.99. The fourth 1,000 gallons would be $4.99. And the 400 would cost the customer $2 for a total of $24.95. With your tax, it would be $27.38. Currently, I have in front of me a bill that shows exactly the same thing, and the customer paid exactly the same amount. So it will not affect anybody who has more water usage, but it will help those that use less. That was my proposal.
is that something we can get on the agenda this month?
It's in the budget.
It's,
Well, I
wait a
take
minute.
that back, it's not.
it's,
No, that is something that we could actually put on the agenda for the 18th. And then we could do the second reading the following month, because if the board
Okay.
decides to implement this,
it's gotta be an
it
ordinance.
would go on the July billing, which is billed out on the 28th. So we do have time to do that.
And just to be clear, this says 2605 and it has this in here. We're voting on this?
Yes.
And this is $300,000 more than what it was last week or whenever we looked at this 2 weeks ago.
So the budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, included those figures. It did not include the signal, and it did not include the sidewalk, but it did include the known expenses. So the budget that you have before you is showing a $66,000 or $66,000
Yeah.
decrease. If you want to, the property tax that's been voted on will allow you to add in between this vote and next vote, the other two sidewalk and signal grant dollars, and do a second reading, adding those revisions in, and also including the tax rate anticipated revenue based upon what was passed tonight.
Any discussion or questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Harvey, on the Clay Street project, is that business still willing to work with the town on that proposed?
I'll defer to
Project?
Ed. I'll defer to Ed. I haven't heard any, I've heard rumors that they were,
Initially they are, but it's kind of, are you moving forward with that project? I don't want to collect money and then we have to give it back because you decide not to do the project. And then we don't get the improvement, so.
So we don't know if that business is coming or not?
No,
they're coming.
they're gonna be, I think they've already got their permit issued, so they should be starting construction or at least demoing of the old, business and then moving forward probably within the next couple of months, I would assume.
I mean, I thought that was part of the discussion when we were discussing it, that they assist with that since it was gonna increase the traffic and create a problem.
Well, they initially, when they signed the contract, weren't aware it was gonna be a stop like that. Now they are, and they're very happy about that. I asked them, instead of just doing the road improvements, that we would have to come back later and potentially tear out some of that. Why don't you just why don't we get an estimate of what that cost would be, do a payment in lieu, and then use that as part of the Clay Street widening project, do it all at once, and you have an efficiency of scale at that point. For us to do that, I need to get a contract to come to you as a board to accept that. But last that I heard, they're open to it, but I want to make sure that we're going to do the Clay Street widening project and get that done quickly. Otherwise, then let them go ahead and do the improvement. Because that little addition will help us out, with the additional traffic. But if we're not gonna do that project in the next year or two, all the way up from from Doss all the way up to the stoplight, then it would make more sense for them just to go ahead and do the improvement and get that done today as part of the permit. So I'll know about that in the next couple of weeks.
Is that included in this?
The Clay Street,
Yes.
what we have included for Clay Street in the current budget in front of you is $350,000.
Okay. I'm a big picture guy. 2 weeks ago, we had a budget. And based on that budget, we had an extra 91,000. Then we found out all of our costs are going up, and it went down. If we pass what you propose, this funds everything we just talked about, and we come out 66,000 to the good,
66,000 in the whole,
and that's before this tax raise.
that's correct.
So basically, so this tax raise will bring in $1 million.
yes.
So we have $1
approximately.
million to shore up our general fund?
Well,
or
we would
put
have,
into
we would have,
paving?
of that million, we would have enough to cover the deficit. We would have enough to cover the, signal grant. We would have enough to cover the sidewalk grant. And we would have enough possibly to cover the, Clay Street improvement.
Okay. And this covers all of our employees at a 3% cost of living adjustment. None of their benefits change.
Correct.
Aren't we getting a part-time police officer in here too?
He won't be, he'll just be part-time, he won't get benefits.
That's, okay.
Yes, yes.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? Again, this is a first reading, so if there's not, I'll take a, yeah, go ahead.
Digress back to the water there, not sewer, water. You broke it down. Everything even up to 1,000 gallons. I've heard a lot and seen a lot. You turn this on. I've heard a lot and seen a lot that said they're actually gonna increase the water rate by doing that. If you take that, I know, starting at 1,000 gallons and you add 1,400 or 1,500 gallons, you're back at the $16.
So right now, your,
Yes.
Water
your
rate for-
minimum water rate is $15.47.
Right.
Take that amount, divide it by 2.5, what do you get? $7.99. That is 1,000 gallon usage.
Right.
There is no change.
Okay,
So
basically,
there is no change,
No.
basically. I just
Basically,
wanted to make that clear.
we
because
have a
that's how I
charge
figured it.
for every 100 gallons of water you use. That price is not changing.
No.
All we're doing is, right now, everyone pays for 2,500 gallons of water, whether you use it or not.
Correct.
So what we're doing is, if you don't use it, we're actually not charging you for water you haven't used.
We are helping the person that doesn't use till 2,500 gallons.
Correct. Okay,
Clear that up because
I know.
I'm getting tired of this interval.
It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop.
Excuse me, can we have quiet,
Hold on.
please? Order.
Yes,
$15.99 rate will actually be $8,
So
$7.98.
2,500 gallons is $15.47, okay? 1,000 gallons is $7.99. So if you take $7.99 for 1,000 gallons, add $5 for another 1,000, and add $2.50 for another 1,000, you're still at $15.47. All we're doing is we're lowering the minimum to 1,000 gallons and charging you the same rate that you would normally pay for 1,000 gallons at $7.99.
okay. Any more questions about the budget? Did you say that that is in this?
No,
No,
it
we're
has to
doing
be
it two,
separate
It
ordinance.
has,
June and
we will
July.
have to have a separate
Okay.
ordinance because it
I
is
understand.
changing your rate structure.
I understand.
But it does not have to be part of your budget.
Okay,
So for clarification, is the board voting on the current budget in front of you without the red letter additions, the additional cost? Or are we voting on it with the additional 300,000?
I think we're voting on the red letter addition that was presented tonight. They gotta make a motion. Which budget do you guys wanna vote on? Do you wanna include the one that she handed you tonight, or do you wanna vote on the one that's in the thing? I mean, this one's 300,000 in the hole, but we just passed, we still come out to the good. And again, all of this can be revised by the end of the month.
Is this not the revised budget?
And you
Not
can,
what's
you
in there,
can vote
what
on
she handed-
the budget that you have currently in your hand, okay? You've already voted for the property tax increase. So if you want to at a later date or between now and the second reading, add that. The second reading is amended by adding these two items, then you can do that as well.
Can we
So,
not-
Or we can pass the amended one tonight.
Yeah, we have to at least pass it, based on, those are gonna be the expenses.
We know.
Yes.
that's why we amend budgets
Okay.
also.
I've got one more, can I ask one more question? In the previous budget, the fuel that was, the fuel cost that was requested by the police department,
It would be included in this budget
In the
Okay.
amendment?
with the amendment.
we can give them
Yes.
back what they needed?
Yes.
Okay. Because we know they drive cars all day long.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Any more comments? Is everybody completely confused? I mean,
We vote on the first reading with the tax change, right?
okay.
Correct.
You've already passed the tax change, so you can do a motion to pass the first reading of the budget that you currently have in your hand to include the two items in red.
We can pass the amended budget with the red letters.
Right.
Is everybody good with that?
That's
Yes.
included.
We have to pass that because we know we have those expenses.
Yes.
Correct.
I agree.
So I
Can I have a motion to that
make
effect?
a motion that we pass the amended budget.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Alderman Campbell votes yes. Alderman Austin,
Yes.
Alderman LaBuddy,
Yes.
Alderman Bailey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Cates votes yes. That's 5 yes, 0 no. Motion passes.
So that's the first reading
We
with
have,
changes.
we have one more item of business, and that is we have to establish a public hearing date. This would be for the property tax levy and for the budget. In previous discussions, we talked about doing that on June the 29th. Is everyone good with that? At 6 o'clock?
That's the final reading.
That will be the
Yes.
final reading.
Yes.
Is every,
What? June, wait a minute, June what?
June the 29th, it's a Monday.
How about 6:30?
Okay.
I know I got something.
Okay.
I'll make sure.
June the 29th at 6:30. Is there any objection to that date and for time?
That's fine.
Okay, 6:30 on June the 29th. Is that something we have to vote on? Or can we just?
No.
Okay. Okay. And our regular meeting will be June the 18th at 7.
Yes.
Okay. If there's nothing else to discuss, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned.